who's in here and who's doing what. So, if you are actively in homes now, raise your hand. Woo! I like it. Okay, so if you haven't been in any homes, raise your hand. How many new people? Okay, a couple new people. So I like it because the process is the same. And so how amazing Jeff is already, it's a little late in the game, but he is starting the process for annuities, which I love and respect, and you're making it super easy to mirror. But there's a process, and the Alliance already put a process in place for the lifestyle. So you don't have to come in here and reinvent the wheel. You don't have to come in here knowing everything about everything. The process, the 90% that you do, there's already a plan in place for it, and we're going to go over it today. But for the people who are going into homes, I just want a couple of the objections, because unless you are going 100%, right? What are some of the objections that you're getting now?
I have to think about it.
So, I'm very new, but I just went, I had, on first appointment, and the lady said, she thought that they were, state brokers, even though it said they're state regulated.
So she thought it was free?
No, I don't really know if it's, I just didn't really know what it was.
That's her thinking that it's free. Okay, so that's good. Okay, what else?
I have to think about it.
Think about it. Think about it. Okay.
You got that taken care of?
Oh, already got it. Love it. Talk to my kids. Okay. That's probably the 4 major. And kids is also think about it. If you give that a second thought, they're just checking back with somebody else.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, if someone says, I don't wanna sign anything today, or
So that's think about it too.
Okay, alright.
Okay, but see how they trick you. Your clients are very smart.
Yep.
Okay, they don't always sound the same, but they are. Does that make sense?
Not interested.
Price is too high.
All right, so that's also think about it. So here's what I want to tell you. Fun fact, okay? The process is made to get over these. Okay? If you follow the Alliance system, so hopefully you guys are using the ATM. If you're not using the ATM, probably half the reason you're getting it. Okay? But if you are, the system is designed to get over these in order. Okay? But, so also second thing is that you're probably causing it. Okay? And that's okay because the spectrum is designed in our favor. Okay, so there's 20% of people that will buy from anybody. Those are the people, you don't even finish what you're saying and they're like, come on, buy. Those people scare me. If you don't get a little bit of pushback, if somebody called you and was like, hey, I'm coming over, you'd be like, hang on, what for, right? But there's people, 20% of people are like, come on by, they're gonna sign the paper whether you do anything or not. That's a lay down, okay? Then there's another 20%, okay, that will never buy from anybody. Okay, you can be great, and they will like you, and they'll try to make you dinner, and they'll invite you back. They will never buy from you. Okay? For those people, I block them out. They hurt my ego. Okay? But there's a 60% right here that will do it if they like and trust you. That's putting the odds in our favor. That's 80%. Okay? So when you're talking to people and you're getting these, it can't be that all of these are in that 20%.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yeah. That would be absurd, right? So there has to be a way that we can get over these first. We almost got to beat them to the punch.
Yeah.
Okay? And so what I'm going to do, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what my system is. Okay? If your upline is telling you to do something different, okay? But this is what has been working for me, and I like to think it worked pretty well. Okay? So my system, I always write too big. Okay, my system breaks down into connection. So Jeff was talking about it, right? So connection, okay? I do green sheet. I do why. Why is why anybody does anything, okay? 4 is edify. Okay, do we know what edify means?
Yes.
We're gonna go over it anyway. Okay, 5, so we're gonna edify and then budget. Okay? Alright, so the thing that people most overlook is the connection. Because you go in there, guns blazing, because you're already thinking about yourself, talking about, I'm gonna make this sale, right? But if you take yourself out of the equation for 1 second, that's somebody's mom, that's somebody's daughter, that's somebody's sister, and you just gotta put yourself in the right frame of mind before you go in and help somebody. Does that make sense? Yes. Alright, because I want y'all to be with me, okay? So let's talk about it. In your connection, 90% of it, 90% of your communication is going to be nonverbal. So the way that you guys are sitting in here is the way that I know who's listening and who's not. Does that make sense?
I heard that.
Right?
Yep.
So like you see how Tony's sitting forward, he's leaning in, he's taking notes, right? That's how your clients know if you're listening to them too. Okay, so you always, I don't know, people in the back can't see me, but the connection, if you can do this right, you could almost jack the rest of it up and you can still help somebody. If you jack this up, you might as well pack your stuff up, okay? So connection, when you come in there, so you'll have a lead, right? So random people, people are sending in this request, you gave them a call, hopefully, or you just door knock, doesn't really matter, okay? But ideally, they know that you're coming by and you're gonna sit down to talk to them, okay? Or surprise, they're gonna learn. So the way that I go in there, usually I'll put this in my purse or I'm just kind of holding on to it, either like this or whatever, because it's really, really casual. Okay, I'm going in there to make a friend. I had an agent, I told him the same thing. The lady was like, "Are you here for insurance?" He's like, "No, I'm here to make a friend." I'm like, "Okay, hang on." You made the friend like secretly. Okay? Like coming in from the side. We don't need to be a best friend, but we just need to be like a vibe. Do you know what I'm saying? So you're coming in there and you want to look as relaxed as possible. If it is your first time in the house, pretend it isn't. Okay, if you start getting shaky, they're not going to give you anything, and they're definitely not giving you a check. That's dangerous, okay? But you come in and you want to look relaxed. Like, I don't know what your relaxed position is, but like for me, I just chill. And really what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to figure out very quickly who they care about, okay? That's the whole reason why people get insurance. Because like, versus an annuity, a lot of the time, it's like, what's in it for me? Okay? So it's very much like that. You're trying to tell somebody to get something that they will never see. Does that make sense? That you're trying to get somebody to put their money in something for somebody else when that happens and they don't even know if it's going to happen first before they go. That's tricky. So you need to really figure out who they love and you need to do it very quickly. Okay? So if you've ever been in a home and you start asking questions, right? And all of a sudden you get somebody that says like, "Hey, what is this about?" You were asking like dagger questions. You were not like digging, doing follow-up questions. So some questions that you can use to get to know somebody, okay? Most people, I like to figure out how they got to the house they're in, okay? What do I mean by that? If you were to ask me how I found my apartment, there's a story, okay? And then you leave from how you got there. Most people in Florida are not from Florida. You guys know that, right?
Yeah.
We all just migrate down here. God knows why, right?
From Florida?
Nuh-uh. Anybody else from Florida?
Yeah, we here.
That's insane. No, that's insane.
I'm from
Okay.
Tallahassee, baby.
All right. I'll put some respect. Most of the time, that's not the case.
No, you're right. They're all.
Most of the time, that's not the case. And when I find a native like that, I respond just like that because you guys rarely exist. In this room, y'all showed out today, but okay. So, like most of the time, you're finding out how somebody got to this place, right? And then you're gonna figure, like, are you from here? No, I'm actually from Michigan.
Yep.
What's wrong with Michigan that everybody's coming down here? Right? What's gonna happen is people are gonna tell you it's too cold. My parents came down here. My mom was sick. My dad just died. My husband can't take the cold. All of those things, because we are focused on form, if you're looking for a process. Okay? So family, say family.
Family.
Occupation.
Recreation.
Message. Okay? Most of the time people are getting insurance for their family. So when they're talking highly of their family, there's some people that don't like their family, I don't judge. But if they're talking highly of your family, you want to go further on it. Okay? And usually that lead, it says insurance on there. Your clients are not dumb. They read it, they know what it's for, they only are tricking you. Okay? So when they tell you that their dad just died, do not step away from that conversation. okay? Because they opened a door for you. Now, I've only been here 5 minutes and they told me that their dad died. Most people would be like, I'm so sorry for your loss, and then talk about something else. But that's half the reason why you're there. Does that make sense? So if they open the door, you can't kick it down, but you can politely walk in. Does that make sense? So, hey, my dad just died. Oh my God, what happened? It's not how. It is the same question, but it's different. Oh my God, what happened? Was he ill? Right? And so when you guys are asking these questions, they matter because you're going to use it later on. What is Jeff doing? He's finding the hot button so he can use it later on. That's sales. Because it's a problem solving. You're solving the problem here, and then you're going to provide a solution at the end, right? Because what am I trying to do? I'm trying to figure out if dad had everything taken care of or he didn't. Okay? You guys know that people do things either because or in spite, right?
Yeah.
So because her dad had something in place, she's going to make it so her kids don't have to work.
Yeah.
Or because her dad didn't have anything in place and she went through that kind of hardship, she's going to make sure that her kids don't ever have to worry about it.
Yeah.
How powerful is that? Right?
Yeah.
So you want to be able to connect very quickly. A lot of the time, if you do that right, and people are saying, I don't know why I just told you that, you are in a gold mine.
I heard that.
Okay? Now, be weary, new people, because when you're talking about family, occupation, recreation, and message, sometimes it'll lead into politics. And sometimes it'll go a little south. What you gotta do is you gotta get the reins on it because you're losing control of the conversation. Right? So the best way to do that, what I do, I'll be like, oh my God, you're a trip. Right? And whatever this means, nothing like, oh my God, you're a trip. Oh, that Biden guy, blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh my God, don't get me started. They don't know. They'll, oh my God, Trump this. Oh my God, don't get me started. Pay anyway. You get what I'm saying? Like if you let it go off the rails, you're going to be there 2 hours. They don't know why you came, whatever, but they think they gave you a lesson. Whatever. And y'all are in houses, so I know this has happened to you because it happened to me, okay? So your connection, it can't be just like super surface level. You're also figuring out, like very quickly I find out what they're paying for that nice car. Let me look at that nice TV on the wall. I'm listening for them to say, hey, look, it only cost me $50. I'm looking for the cigarettes on the table. Like, you're being so conscious in there, but you're focused on the person. Does that make sense? It's a tricky thing. But you're asking questions and you need to actively listen for what Marty says back. Does that make sense?
Yep.
You with me? Alright. So, after I build that connection, which is probably the most important part if I have not made that clear, okay? I take this, okay, usually I'll be at a table, okay? My book, if it's dirty, I'm not putting it on the floor. I'll put it behind me, okay? But my book will be on the table. I'll open it up. And if it doesn't land in the pocket, like if the person doesn't say, you know, my dad just died and I went through that whole hole, you can still get there, okay? You want to laugh, you want to do what's called a pattern interruption. I'm going to make y'all do it, okay? There's a word for it. You do it all the time, but you don't probably realize. So what you do is when the conversation is getting to the part where you transition, you want to just like laugh, and then you slap your legs and you're going to sit forward, okay? All right, so I want y'all to do it. So you're gonna do like a little chuckle, like, oh my God, and then you're slap your legs and you're gonna okay? What are you're controlling the conversation at that point. You let them be the expert in their family, you're now the expert in insurance. You didn't, this is your first time, you're the expert in insurance. Do you hear me? Do not tell them, I don't really know, this is my first time. That's not comforting. That's not comforting. Okay, so what I'll do, so this is Linda. I helped her on Tuesday. She was awesome. But let's just say that you're Linda today, okay? So what I would do, me and Linda, we're cool. We're friends. Actually, what's your first name? Lucy. Lucy? That was pretty cool. So Lucy, all right, so Lucy, I say, hey, Lucy, this is the card that we have got from you. Paper. Now, the postcard comes like this. I fold this baby down. You give it to the client. She's going to look everywhere but where she filled it out. So when I tell them, I'm like, hey, they printed this pretty big on here in case your handwriting, Lucy, wasn't good, but you did really good, right? So I'm going to hand this to her. Hey, this is the card that we had got from you. Here's the question. Walk me through what you were thinking about when you had sent this card in to us. Okay? First answer will be super generic. Do you know what the answer is?
Oh.
What's the answer?
I just want to see what it's
I
about.
wanted to see what this was about, right? You're gonna get that naturally because I asked a really big question. Okay? So what I'm gonna do next, there's a part in here and it says state regulated life insurance. But rule number 1 of Fight Club, I'm not saying don't talk about Fight Club, right? So you don't say life insurance until they say life insurance. They say life insurance, I'll say life insurance. Okay? But I'll say, hey, this is for state regulated skip over life. This is for state regulated programs that are helping out with final expenses. Check this out, Lucy. I figured, how old are you?
She's 21.
All right, Linda is 78, okay? So I'll say, Lucy, I figured at 78 years old, you would already have a program like this. What am I doing? I'm trying to figure out very quickly what she already got.
Say yes or no, I don't.
There's only 2 types of people, okay? People who have insurance and people who don't.
Right.
People who already have it, they already believe in what you're doing, okay? People who don't, they probably do. You just have to guide them to what the issue is or figure it out together, right? So she's gonna tell me for the sake of this, okay, that she doesn't have any insurance, okay? Now a lot of people will say, okay, honestly, how come? We're friends now. How come? Not, why not? You should. Let's get it right now. It's not like that. So how come? She's gonna say a couple of reasons. Couldn't afford it. I lost it in the divorce. I haven't gotten around to it. Right?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out, these are really the only answers, unless she says, I don't want it.
Yeah.
Which is so unlikely. You know what I'm saying? So, like, how come? Now, what her response will be, if it's, I haven't gotten around to it, it's like, Lucy, you are 78 years old. We are going to get this now. Don't worry, Lucy. Let's figure out what you qualify for today.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Are you ready to take care of it now? Yes, I am. Like, you're just guiding them in the answers that you want. Make sense?
Yeah.
Now, that's all before you even open up this book. So if y'all are opening up the book, sitting down, like, you're going too fast and you're missing the biggest portion. You're missing it. You're going to find out so much stuff here that's going to help you on the why.
That's good right
Okay?
there.
So you open this up. I keep everything super simple. I got everything in a program. Okay? So open it up. Also, you have to share a little bit about you in the connection. I think it's really important. So, like, I'm like, oh, this is my family. For grandparents, they love being grandparents. I don't care what you say. I think I'd skip parenthood, be a grandparent tomorrow. Like, I'll share, like, hey, you know, these are my siblings. You know, we range from 20 to 31, and none of us have any kids. They about lose their mind. They're pulling out pictures of their grands. You want all of that stuff. You want to know their names. You want to use their names. Okay? Like, it's so important. Me saying, Lucy, you don't even realize that it's so intentional. Does that make sense? So I'm like, all right, Lucy, this is my license right here. Here's some pictures of my family down here. That's my son. He's a dog. You know, like, just whatever we could do, right? I'm going to flip this page. Keep it super simple. If your hand works, I want you to go like this. Okay? So, these are just some of the programs that we work with. That was super simple, right? These are some of the programs that we work with. Okay, they know it. They know this company says companies. They know it's insurance. And then I'll say, hey, you might recognize some. This one is circled because it's the one that I have and it's the one I put my parents in. Now, some of y'all are trying to sell some insurance and you don't own any. I don't know if you're going to raise your hands, but how many in here don't own a policy? Sir, how come? You know what I'm saying? Because the same reason that you're not getting it is the same reason that they're not. And your conviction is different. It's very hard for the chef to make you eat the food that he's cooking when you don't eat it. It is. It's really, really hard to buy that car. I'm telling you it's the best and I got a totally different brand. Your credibility goes out the window. Can you say that with conviction? Do your parents have this coverage? Are you letting your parents be in like AARP, Globe? Your clients will tell. I'm telling you, they can feel it if you're full of crap. Now you gotta have a little bit of finesse. You can be full of crap in some other areas, but not on your skill set for the insurance.
Got you.
Okay, so You gotta fix that. You have the license now, or I'll fix it over there. Alright, so you flip this, right? These are some of the programs that we work with. Keep it simple. You own that policy, you can say this is the one that I have. Why? Because it's good enough for me, it's good enough for you. Right? Alright. Flip this page. So Lucy. Alright. You're gonna qualify, before I flip this page, you're gonna qualify, and again, you're gonna qualify somewhere in here based on your answers to these questions here. Super simple. Super simple. Alright, so now I'm gonna preface what I'm gonna do. So Lucy, what we're gonna do, we're gonna talk a little bit about your health. Okay? That's when you gotta be really, really specific with me. Okay? We're gonna talk about finances. That's when you could just give me ballpark stuff. Almost as if I'm not interested in their finances. Does that make sense? Alright, and then we're gonna talk about what you needed to do, Lucy, and that's when we'll get specific again. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So, like what I'm doing every time that I say, okay, are you with me? Does that make sense? I'm getting your buy-in. You guys are nodding because I'm nodding. Okay? So there's this thing. I'm just gonna erase this. You guys know it says free right here. Yeah. For free time. Okay. So there's this thing, it's called soften. We love acronyms here. It's like going back to school. Alright, so it's smile, open posture, open posture. Your hand should never be under the table. Okay. F is for facing forward, front facing, however you want to say it. Okay. Because it would be really weird if I'm talking to you like this. Right? That would be strange. So front facing, you want to touch your client, so you know, you want to give them like a high five here and there. They paid off their home. So many people are getting loans when they're 80 for 30 years. So many people don't live to pay off their home. They paid off their home. Give them a high five. That is incredible. They pay off their car. That's incredible. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The more times that you can touch your client, it's the connection. If you've ever been around one of your uplines and they touch you like this, they're trying to move you. You don't even realize that people are doing it in little ways. The hugs you get, all that stuff, it's intentional. And so you want to be equally as intentional with your client. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's touch. Eye contact. I had to practice eye contact.
Really?
Yeah, I had to practice it. It's a little intimidating, especially try talking about it with dad.
Oh.
And the person who blinks first, you're gonna lose. You know? So you want to keep eye contact. Okay, it's so important. It builds again credibility. But I believe in what I'm doing, and if you believe in what you're doing, it's not going to be that difficult. Okay. All right, and then the last one is nod. So I nod all the time, which is why all of your heads are bouncing around, because it lets me know that you understand what I'm saying. If there was somebody in here that was looking like this, I'd be like, hang on, we gotta go back. So some of you think that you're getting these objections out of nowhere. Like you didn't even know what was coming. But really, you lost them somewhere in your presentation and you just bypassed it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Alright, so we are now getting some information to see what Lucy qualifies for. She knows what I need, right? So I'm going to ask Lucy for her medication. I'm not going to say, can you please, or not, I'm going to say, hey Lucy, you taking any medications? I'm a doctor. Okay, so, I don't have a green sheet. Alright, green sheet, I'll go, hey Lucy, how tall are you? How much you weigh? You smoking? When you quit that stuff? Right? Like, you know, you're going through, if you guys have been at home, you know what the green sheet looks like. Off of memory, right? About how much is coming in on Social Security, what's coming in from your investments. I don't have no investments. What? You look crazy. Ah! Look, okay.
That's super green.
Alright, so, Lucy, how tall are you? When's your birthday? I'm not doing no math. So I'll say, Lucy, how young are you? I'll put it right there in the corner. That helps, like if you're sending this to your upline, I gotta pull over and do some math. Just put her age in the corner so I could just do it like that. Social Security, income. Alright, right here, sometimes when you ask that question at the beginning, what have you done already? Sometimes people separate, like my life insurance is this, but I got my burial stuff over here. Okay, it's none of my business what you want to call it. I love right. It's none of my business what you want to call it, right? But I'm gonna ask them, hey, do you have any life policies in place? Okay. Right there, they're gonna tell me again, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna get that paperwork out. at this point they like me and they trust me. Sometimes I'll dig a little on the insurance. I know we're talking about not having it, but 50% of the time they will. So it's like, Lucy, what's the name of the company? How long ago you did that? Right? And just like, real confused. Okay. You have that paperwork around here? Hand goes out.
Heard that.
Hand goes out. You have that paperwork around here? Okay. Sometimes if they're like, I don't know. I'm like, you're still paying on it? I don't know. Like, Lucy, if you don't know, do you think Jacob knows? Like, it's just like, you gotta create like an urgency for her to get up and go look at it. Because most people, 8 out of 10 people don't know what they have. So if you don't validate what they have right here, when you get to the end, they're gonna say, I already got it. Because you didn't look at what they had.
Exactly.
Then this becomes just extra. Well, guess what? They filled the card out even having the insurance.
Yeah.
So it's not about necessarily beating the price. Sometimes it's about, is it enough?
Yeah.
Is it the right kind of coverage? Sometimes we can beat the price. A lot of times we can beat the price, but it's not about that. It's just about putting your client in a better position, okay? But for the sake of this, you don't have any insurance. So, no insurance, you own your home. That's the opportunity to give a high five. Right here, don't stray away from this. This is what Jeff was talking about right here, these safe money questions, okay? Your client already likes you. If they start giving you to the penny of what they got, you are good. If they start saying, well, enough, or, you know, I have, you know, nothing, or whatever it is, you messed up here. And you could try to redeem it, but more than likely it's not going to be sold. Does that make sense? Like, there's so many indicators before you get to the end, like which one you want. They say no. There's so many indicators that they're not going to get it from you. Okay? All right, so now you get down to the bottom. So, Lucy, you taking any medications? You are. Okay. So, can you go ahead? You have a list? Now, if I don't ask for the list, Lucy's going to start giving me off of her memory.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
A lot of times she's going to forget the one that's for cancer.
Yeah.
It just happens. It happens. She's going to forget the most important ones. And so what I'm going to do is I'm not putting that on her. The doctor doesn't let you forget. They're all up in your business, so you get all up in hers.
I heard that.
Okay? So it's like, you have that medication list. Now you get the med list, but guess what? They take off the ones that they're not taking anymore. So you even need to be more thorough. They don't put the inhalers on there. So you guys need to have a list of basic questions. We give it to our agents that will cover like main things: anxiety, schizophrenia, bipolar, your heart, congestive heart failure, your lungs. And I call everybody. I'm like, you have any inhalers? You got the tingles in your hands? I don't need to call it neuropathy. They know what neuropathy is. You know, like, you don't have to make them feel bad about it. If they're schizophrenic, I call it anxiety. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they know what it is, but you don't have to put it down. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. So, we get the meds. We have, and then right here, guys, before I was doing this a while, I would Google the meds right in front of them. Right?
Yeah.
Because some medications are for seizures, they're for sleep, they're for this, they're for that. And the only way that I was learning was I was seeing the same meds over and over. All of your clients could take their buckets, go outside, and share them with their neighbors. Because doctors just give the same meds over and over. They do. So you start going 5-6 homes, now you Googled it 5-6 times, you know what that medication is for.
Yeah.
That's like, nobody can trick you anymore because you Googled it yourself.
Yes.
Okay? But if you fill this out right and you send it to an upline who's been doing this a while, they will be able to tell you exactly where they can go. Okay? Now there's usually 10 right answers for every home. We need to know why they need it. So this is fine, but it's not enough. It's not enough, okay? So if you're using this ATM, we just did this, right? Flip it over. And this says, why is this important? So, you know, again, it's so cool to see Jeff's process because you're actually mirroring it. And I love that he went right before me. So you saw his taxes, if you got sued, all that stuff. He knows what questions to ask. Same thing. Okay? But we need to figure it out. Sometimes people will say, I want to be cremated. And you're like, all right, let's get you $3,000-$5,000. But you don't even know if they want to leave money to their kids. You don't know if they need to replace income. You don't know the situation because you haven't even asked because you're still worried about you. Which is okay, right? But try to consciously think about them. Try to consciously think, if that was your mom, what's her situation? And it would help if you had it on yourself, because you'll understand why you got it. Okay? So it reads like this. Most people request information for one of 4 reasons: to help pay off a mortgage, to replace lost income, pay off final expenses, cover children's expenses or debt, or to leave a legacy for your loved ones. Right? For me, it doesn't matter which one they choose, because I'm going to take it away anyway. Okay? A lot of the times you'll get the person that's super, super sick who wants to pay off the house. So you guys don't need to know a lot about insurance, but you just know this: the healthier they are, the more they can get. Okay? That's just, it just makes sense, right? If they got an oxygen cannula in their nose, true story, they are not getting $500,000. And if you let them think the entire time that they're gonna get $500,000, it's gonna be a tough situation when you call me on the phone and I'm like, right? But if we figure out why they actually want the $500,000, what they're actually trying to do, then something is better than nothing. Something is better than nothing. Say it.
That's better than
Okay? And then sometimes you guys believe it too. You'll be like, yeah, that is kind of high for 10,000. And if you believe it, your client believes it, and that sale is not being made. But if I give you $10,000 right now, are you saying no? No. All of a sudden, it's like, okay, I'll take that. But then when somebody dies and they get 10,000, it's like, what's 10,000? It's not zero.
I heard that.
It's not zero, but I have the relationship cash to say that, right? So let's just say they want to pay off final expenses. Okay, so Lucy, you want to pay off final expenses? I'm going to say, all right, Lucy, I know you want to pay off your final expenses today. That's me assuming the sale. I know you want to get your final expenses taken care of today. But walk me through, now you're slowing down, your inflection changes, all that stuff matters, you're leaning in. Walk me through, Lucy, what it looks like. You have kids? Who would be in charge? Your daughter, what's her name? Eleanor. So like, this is important, right? So I'm gonna say, Lucy, I know you wanna get your final expenses taken care of today, right? But kind of just paint me a picture of what it looks like for Eleanor if you were to pass away tomorrow with no insurance. Pause, right? Emotionally, I can't even imagine. But financially, what does that look like for Eleanor? And then you just stay quiet. Right? Because maybe Lucy hadn't ever thought about it. She let her process. If you start talking, you're messing it up. You let the silence do the heavy lifting on the why. And this is the most important part. Because she doesn't care about Eleanor or what Eleanor has to pay. She's not getting the insurance. Okay? Now, if she says Eleanor has, sometimes, a lot of the times, people on Social Security, their kids are doing better than them. Because if my daughter makes 10 times, Eleanor makes 10 times as much money as I ever will. Blah, 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 blah. So you pull it. So listen, if Eleanor's making all this money, why even do something like this? Why even be worried about it? You call her bluff, right? Because people whose daughters can take care of it and they're actually not worried, don't send them the car. So this or this. Most of the time she'll say, well, she can pay for it, but I mean, it's not her responsibility. And so here's what I expect from my team, right? So this screen sheet, there's no more space. Okay, let's start writing the why on the back. Okay, I want a picture of this, because we can know wherever she wants to go, whatever she can get, but I need to know why she needs it. So I know what to talk about, right? So you call somebody, I'm gonna speed this baby up. So you call somebody, and you're like, hey, my upline is Big Mike, if you don't know him. He's like 100 years old, he's been doing this super long. And I'll say that to my clients too, right? You know, he's been doing this a really, really long time. He's gonna be able to tell me the best program for you and Eleanor. Nobody says, don't call somebody, you tell me. Everybody wants you to get a second opinion. Yeah. Everybody wants to make sure that they're in the best. And when you come from a caring place, it feels a little different. Yeah. Right? So I'm gonna call Mike. I don't need to give Mike, hey, she's 5'1", she's however, she's not smoking. I don't need that stuff. I need this stuff. Yeah. Hey Mike, right now, Lucy doesn't have anything in place. She sent in one of these cards because she doesn't have anything in place, and if she were to die, Eleanor can or cannot take care of the formal expenses. If she can take care of it, but Lucy absolutely doesn't want her to take care of it because, did your parents have insurance? Because her parents, like, it's that kind of stuff. Mike is gonna say, what an incredible mom. I know one when I see one. That's the power of edification. It goes like this. So you edify your client, this person edifies your client, Mike's edifying you, everybody's going nuts because it's just, it makes her feel so good about what she's doing. And then he's gonna end the call, or I end the call, I'm like, hey, you're with Cassie, she's one of my favorites. I trust her with my parents. You're in good hands. Go ahead and get her qualified for X. That's how we end the call. Okay? That's edified. Okay? So, right here, when you're brand new, the reason why we don't stress on the products is because the products in this situation is 10%. So 90% is this. 10% is the product. Right? So I can tell you, hey, we're gonna go CFG. If you have a different idea, keep it to yourself. We'll talk about it after. You don't ever want to look conflicting. You gotta say, that's what I was thinking. Even if you don't even know what I'm talking about, that's what I was thinking. Right? I'm gonna give 3 options. I'm gonna ask the client, which one are you leaning the most toward? She's gonna pick one. I'm gonna ask for the driver's license. It is just that simple. If you just not complicated. Okay? Doesn't mean if you do the 90% that you're gonna make every sale.
Yeah.
No. Because these people still exist.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
But more times than not, and your impact level will go through the roof.
Yeah.
Because you're actually able to help people that you now care about. If you get out of the house and you can't tell me what their kids' names are, where they're from, how long they've been married, what's the secret to their marriage, how did they meet? If you can't say that stuff, you ain't doing nothing up there.
I heard that.
If you can tell me that they like Florida because of the beach, and you know they're not too fond of the rain or their back hurts when it rains, like none of that stuff matters. You need to seek out what's important. And this right here, y'all, if you can drill down on this family situation, it's game over. So I think I have 2 minutes, so I'm gonna take some questions.
Yeah, Michelle, so my experience this week in the first couple of appointments were
Love it.
appointments running long.